Hi all, I've been really busy the last few weeks, but I've got an afternoon free, so I'm going to do some wildlife photography this afternoon. I'm at my local nature reserve, about 15 minutes away from where I live, and this is a really great little place. It's got lots of scrapes that are full of water, and there's an estuary, a saltwater estuary running down the side. So the sort of animals you get here are lots of wading birds. So you get avocets and you get snipe, you get all sorts of herons and little egrets and stuff like that, along with some birds of prey actually. So we also get here marsh harriers, we get kestrels, hobbies in the summer, all sorts of stuff. So I'm looking forward to a good afternoon. Photography. Now, wildlife photography is completely different to landscape photography, obviously. It's a lot more unpredictable, to be honest. So whereas with a landscape photography you can turn up at the location and sort of predict what's going to happen if you keep an eye on the weather conditions. You know where the location is and you can set up and sort out your composition. With wildlife photography, completely different, because yes, you know where the good locations are, and I'm at a great little reserve here, but you really never know what's going to turn up. So it can be really great, or it can be really, you know, a fairly quiet afternoon. So I'm going to stay for the afternoon and the evening. Hopefully we'll get some good photographs, but it's a great place to be anyway. So I'm walking across a permissive footpath at the moment, and that takes me to 2 or 3 really nice little hides. So when I get to the first hide, we'll start having a chat about the sort of things you need to think about for wildlife photography. So for the moment, I'm going to keep on walking to the hides, and I'll see you all in a few minutes, or on this vlog in a couple of seconds actually. So bye for now, see you soon. Right, hi all, I'm at the first hide now, so I've hiked across a few fields along the seawall, and this is our first hide here. And generally, if you're going to photograph wildlife, you need to use a hide, either a permanent hide like the one we've got here, or like a little pop-up tent almost that you put up yourself, because the wildlife, especially in the UK, is very nervous, and in order to get close enough to photograph it, even with a reasonably long lens, you need to be pretty well hidden, and these hides are great. So it's just like a shed, this one, with some nice benches and some really small windows to poke your lens out of. When I enter the hide, obviously you need to keep really quiet, because if there is some wildlife close, you don't want to disturb it. The second thing I normally do is I normally keep quite low, so my profile doesn't go above the windows. That way, if there is some wildlife close by, I'm not going to spook it. So I'm going to get into the hide nice and quiet, hopefully unobserved, and I'm going to set up really quietly as well. Then it's a case of, generally in this country, using a long lens. So I've got a 200 to 500mm zoom lens with me today. I do have a 600mm prime lens, but if I'm carrying all my vlogging equipment as well, it's too much to carry. And as I might have mentioned, I think in my vlog on seabird photography, this lens is brilliant. It's a 200 to 500mm Nikon zoom, and it's really sharp. The autofocus is good, and I don't feel that this is too much of a compromise. I really like this lens. Now, when it comes to wildlife photography, again, totally different to landscape photography. You have to really think about camera shake and getting the picture sharp. So with wildlife photography, because you've got a moving subject, you need to obviously keep that subject sharp in the frame. And if it's moving, we need quite a fast shutter speed to freeze that motion. Also, because we're using a long lens, there's the possibility of camera shake. So we need a fast shutter speed to avoid camera shake, and also to make sure that our subject's sharp as well. So it's a case of 2 possibilities of creating a blurred picture: camera shake and subject movement. So when I'm doing flight shots, and that's what I'm hoping to do today, because the only thing with these hides is you've got a fixed height, so you're quite high above the water, or above the ground, so in this case above the water. And when I'm photographing wildlife, I like to be sort of in line with their heads really. So if they're low to the ground, I want to be low to the ground too. Whereas in one of these permanent hides, you can't really do that. But it's great for flight shots because as they take off, obviously the animal increases height because it's mainly bird photography here. Then they're in line or level with your camera, and that's a great time to start photographing. So camera height is really important. Shutter speed is really important. So I generally, for a normal sort of seabird, let's say something like a heron or an egret that doesn't fly too fast, I normally want about 1,000th of a second. That will freeze the motion of the bird, and it will also stop any camera shake, because I've got this lens when it's most extended, which is 500mm, on a crop sensor body. This is a Nikon D500 body. So that actually has the effect of magnifying the focal length, and it behaves as if I've got a 750mm lens on the camera. So I need a fast enough shutter speed to make sure that I don't get camera shake, because this long lens magnifies any movement I might make. I'm also going to use a bean bag. So you've got some little ledges in there. You can rest a bean bag on the ledge, put your camera on the bean bag, and that makes it quite stable. So the key thing about wildlife photography is, in the first place, being really patient, so that you just wait for the wildlife to turn up. It could be happening straight away, it could be hours. And in fact, I've waited hours and hours and hours for wildlife to turn up. But if you get that 15, 20, 30 seconds of great action, it's worth every minute. So it's a really, really great type of photography. It's a bit like fishing, I suppose, but obviously you're not creating any problems for the animals, you're just taking photographs. So lots of waiting around, possibly, and then you've got to really concentrate. So the minute that action happens, you can take that photograph. So it's good concentration, the right shutter speed, so you avoid camera shake and keeping the animal sharp as it moves, a nice bit of stability using the bean bag, and then I normally use continuous focusing. So in other words, I set the camera up so it doesn't lock on focus when I touch the shutter button. As I hold the shutter button down, it will continually refocus on a moving subject. So the camera's going to try and keep that moving subject in focus, with, it has to be said, varying degrees of success. But I tend to find, actually, if the picture's not sharp, it's generally user error rather than camera error. So it means you've slightly not got your focus point on the animal, or you've not used quite fast enough the shutter speed to freeze that motion. So generally user error as opposed to sort of camera error. But you know, sometimes this fast moving action can sort of even fool the camera as well. So you're not going to get pin sharp pictures every time. That's just not how it happens with wildlife. What you're looking for is those one or two absolutely brilliant shots that make the afternoon or the evening worthwhile. So I love wildlife photography. I can sit here for a long time, nothing happens, and suddenly there's a great bit of action, and you never know what's going to turn up, and that's the beauty of wildlife. So if I had to choose between wildlife and landscape, it would be a very hard choice. I really love doing both. So I'm going to say bye for now, go into the hide, and it's going to be a lot of waiting around, I expect. I'm not going to do any talking in the hide, because if there's anybody else in there, I don't want to disturb them, and if there's lots of wildlife there, I don't want to disturb that either. So bye for now, and I'm going to put some pictures that I took hopefully this afternoon, or I take this afternoon, on the end of this vlog. If there's not much around, I've taken so many pictures at this reserve over the years, I'm going to put some of them on at the end of this vlog as well. So it'll mainly be waterbirds, herons, egrets, waders like avocets. We also, as I say, get birds of prey here, marsh harriers, hobbies, buzzards, all sorts of stuff, kestrels. So we'll see what turns up this afternoon. The light's great. Generally like nice bright sunlight, because that directional light gives the animals a bit more contrast and they look sharper. So I generally like nice directional sunlight, but when the sun's getting low in the sky, and it's dropping down now, we're sort of getting towards late afternoon, it's September, so the light's going to get better and better as the afternoon and the evening goes on. So that's it for now, bye for now, and I'll speak to you in a few minutes after I've finished, hopefully, well, in a few hours probably, after I've hopefully got some great shots. Excuse me for wearing my sunglasses for this vlog, but it's really bright and I'm looking right into the sun at the moment, so I'd only be squinting and I don't want to do that. So bye for now, and I'll speak to you soon. Right, I'm the only one in here, so I'm going to talk really quietly. So yeah, just as I thought, expected really, to be honest. There's a lot of waiting around. There's not an enormous amount of wildlife, but there's a few waders. There's a sandpiper I've just noticed over there, a few shovelers and stuff like that. So I'm going to stick around and then move up to the next hide probably. But as you can see, they're just like little sheds, these places, with I don't know if you can see it, but you've got a little window frame here. I've got my beanbag on the window frame, so that gives you a nice bit of stability. Not as good as a tripod, but you know, doesn't really matter. This is enough because I've got a fast shutter speed, so I'm not going to get any shake anyway, but this just gives you a little bit of a rest, and it makes the camera a little bit more solid. And you've still got plenty of free movement, so you can pan and follow the movement of the animals. So most of the stuff has been over that way. I'm going to, as I say, hang around here for a little while longer, see if anything else pops up. You get a lot of animals feeding along the mud, and then after that I'll move on up to the next hide and the one after that. But I think this vlog finished really. At the end of the vlog, I'm going to put some pictures on. I don't know if there'll be any for today because there's not an enormous amount. There's a few, you know, bits and bobs around. There's a few waders, but not anything special at the moment. So it's early days. I might find something else, but if I don't, I'll put some pictures on that I've shot on previous visits to this reserve. If you've enjoyed this vlog, please subscribe to my channel, and if you do subscribe, if you can press the little bell icon, and then you'll get a notification to say when my next upload or the next vlog I upload comes online. So hope you enjoyed this vlog. Thanks for watching, and until next time, bye for now.